Starting to track some spotty showers heading into the afternoon. If we take a look at satellite and radar, not a whole lot going on. We do have some pop-up stuff headed just towards the west, towards Midland, and then even down towards the Big Bend area. But let's zoom in on a Max Live radar. Saw some spotty activity heading towards 4 o'clock, since tapered off, but still seeing some spotty activity here and there across the big country, but expected to pick up heading into the overnight hours. Let's take a look at the rain chances heading into the next couple of days. For tonight, we're expecting a 20% chance of activity and then increasing to 40% specifically in the morning hours of Tuesday. That will slowly taper off to 20% for the afternoon and then 30% heading into Wednesday. Isolated chances heading into Thursday. For the storm potential for tonight, expecting a marginal risk for strong to severe storms towards our northwestern county, something that we'll be monitoring into the overnight hours, and then non-severe general thunderstorm risk for the rest of us, including the city of Abilene. But for any storms that do form here in the big country, we can expect some gusty winds, hail, flooding, and lightning. But let's take a look at the severe hazard breakdown. In terms of the wind, we have 50 to 60 mile per hour winds are expected. This is all due to the outflow from these storms that are going to be pushing down towards the southeast, but mostly in our northwestern counties. In terms of hail, we can expect up to quarter-sized hail, specifically in the isolated storms that do form right off the bat, and then that will continue as the storms cluster up into a line. Now, in terms of that tornado threat, it is unlikely here in the big country tonight. Now, in terms of the excessive rainfall outlook, this is from the Weather Prediction Center. In that marginal risk for most of us, excluding the heartland counties as well as our southern counties, but then we have a marginal risk for flooding in our northern counties, which is Knox and King County, but that's going to be towards the northern part of these northern counties. Now, we do have a marginal risk for tomorrow. This is going to be specifically for the morning hours when we're expecting most of our rain chances. But in terms of watches and warnings, we do have a flood watch for Knox County, where we saw that excessive rainfall outlook and the slight risk for flooding. This is going to be starting at 4 today and then till tomorrow 7 a.m. Now, we're expecting 1 to 3 inches of rain with isolated amounts of up to 4 inches. But let's take a look at the timeline. Now, around 1 a.m. overnight, we can expect that activity to start over towards Lubbock and then pulling down into the big country around 2:30 a.m. and then continuing as a cluster of storms with repeated rainfall up in King and Knox County, and that will continue making its way down towards the Key City. So 6:30 a.m. we're expecting some activity here with kiddos starting school. You definitely want to make sure you're packing that rain gear with them, and we'll see some activity over towards Snyder and then even towards some of our centralized counties. Continuing 8 a.m. seeing activity here in the Key City up towards Stanford and even Haskell, and then starting to clear as the day progresses. But then we'll start to see some spotty activity just south of the I-20 corridor in some of our heartland counties, some pop-up thunderstorms here and there, as well as down into Coleman County and then out towards the west of our viewing area. That'll be continuing over the next couple of hours. 7:30 Tuesday, still seeing that rain, so make sure you're staying aware of that weather, having those alerts turned on, packing that rain gear for those kiddos heading out. Let's take a look at the temperature trend. As those kids are starting school, it's really important that you're keeping them hydrated, as the afternoons are going to be very hot. 94 for Tuesday, 96 for Wednesday, 99 heading into Thursday, 98 for Friday as well as Saturday. So it's going to be very warm. Abilene tonight, 72 degrees with the isolated activity, and then tomorrow 94 degrees, 40% chance of activity before 10 a.m. In the heartland tonight, 72 degrees, mostly clear with cool conditions, and then tomorrow 94 for them, 30% chance of activity as well. Let's take a look at this extended forecast. 94 for Tuesday, 96 for Wednesday, and then the upper 90s continue all throughout the back half of this next week and then even into the weekend. Monitoring for those triple digits, but so far staying out